Hey, welcome! Today we're diving into an idea from some really ancient wisdom that might just change how you think about your words. We're talking about the profound and, let's be honest, often overlooked power of silence.
So let's just jump right in with a pretty tough question. What if your biggest, most painful mistake wasn't an action, but something you said? A word that slipped out when just being still would have been the smarter, more healing choice? It's a heavy thought, for sure.
To really get why silence is so valuable, we first have to grapple with the massive and often destructive power of our words. One of our main sources, the Book of James, doesn't pull any punches. It calls the tongue a fire, a world of evil. Whoa. So what does that even mean?
I mean, just look at this. The tongue has this incredible split personality, right? With it, we can pray, we can encourage, we can heal, we can protect. It can be this amazing force for good. But that exact same tool can be used to gossip, lie, curse, and tear someone down. It can literally build a life or completely destroy one.
And the crazy part is the outsized power we're talking about. The sources use these two fantastic metaphors. Think about it. A tiny little dit in a horse's mouth controls that massive, powerful animal. A small rudder can steer a huge ship through a storm. Well, it's the same deal with the tongue. This small part of our body has the power to set the course for our entire life.
And here's the real kicker, laid out right here in James chapter 3. The text argues that while we've figured out how to tame all sorts of wild animals, no human being can fully tame their own tongue. Calling it a restless evil? Man, that really drives home just how difficult this internal battle for self-control really is.
Okay, so this can all feel a little abstract. To bring it down to earth, one of our sources gives us this incredible parable. It's the story of a woman named Ashira, and it perfectly illustrates the painful fallout of unchecked words and the surprising freedom that can be found when they're gone.
So Ashira, she was smart, and she genuinely thought she was being helpful. But her constant need to speak, to correct, to jump in with advice, it basically became a weapon in her own home. She would interrupt her husband Anand finishing his thoughts for him, thinking she was saving him from embarrassment. But what she was really doing was just controlling everything. And the impact on her family was just devastating. Anand grew quiet, he withdrew, his spirit was basically crushed. She had stripped him of his own voice. And even more tangibly, their youngest daughter, Yaela, actually began to stutter, as if her own spirit was trapped under the weight of her mother's constant talking. Such a clear picture of how words can leave these deep, invisible scars.
Then came this dramatic turning point. A prophet confronts her, and poof, her voice is gone for 7 days. But what starts out looking like a punishment actually becomes this incredible gift. In that forced silence, she finally sees her family for the first time. She notices her daughter humming, her son praying by himself, her husband actually smiling. When her voice finally comes back, it's different. She's learned how to listen.
Ashira's story isn't just a story, though. It points to this much bigger principle, the idea of silence as an active, intentional space for growth. It's not just an absence of noise. It's more like a classroom, a place where you learn some profound lessons.
The sources actually call this holy stillness. And this isn't about being empty. It's about being full of presence. It's the intentional act of quieting down all the noise from the world, and let's be real, the noise inside our own heads, so that a deeper kind of listening can finally happen. It's a space for healing, for reflection, and for getting some real clarity.
So what exactly are we learning in this classroom of stillness? Well, you can think of it in 3 key ways. First, it heals. It's like this gentle surgery that lets you finally address the wounds you normally cover up with busyness. Second, it reveals. Silence is like a mirror, right? It shows you what's really going on inside, your unfiltered motives and fears. And third, it strengthens our discernment, helping us learn to tell the difference between a wise choice and just an impulsive reaction.
And this is where the whole idea gets kind of flipped on its head. We start to see that silence isn't weakness or being passive. In fact, it's framed as a source of incredible strength, almost like a superpower that grants you a kind of authority.
I mean, check out this powerful contrast between Ashira before her transformation and the biblical figure of Mary. Ashira spoke out of fear and a need to control. Mary, on the other hand, chose reverence and trust. When she was faced with this world-changing, impossible-to-explain situation, she didn't rush out to defend herself. She simply guarded the promise she'd been given.
And this is the verse that really nails her approach. Instead of reacting externally, she reflected internally.
This act of pondering things in her heart is presented as this profound act of spiritual maturity and discernment. She chose internal processing over external panic.
But the ultimate example we get is Jesus. When he's facing his accusers, he remains silent. This wasn't a sign of weakness or fear. The interpretation is that it was an act of complete trust in a bigger divine plan, choosing obedience over that very human impulse to justify yourself. In this view, his silence was his strength.
And you know, this piece of ancient wisdom from Proverbs kind of confirms a universal truth. It says, even a fool is thought wise if he keeps silent. It's something we all sort of instinctively know. Holding your tongue is a sign of wisdom, and it projects this sense of control and thoughtfulness.
So where does all this lead? I mean, the goal isn't just to be silent forever, of course not. This all leads to a final, crucial point. The whole purpose of silence is to prepare us to speak with power, purpose, and perfect timing.
And this brings us to a really critical idea. Being right is not enough. As you can see here, truth delivered without the right spirit just becomes judgment. Truth without grace feels like aggression. And even the right words, if they're spoken at the wrong time, can wound someone instead of healing them. Timing is everything.
Think about it like this. Your words are seeds. You can't just throw seeds onto hard, unprepared ground and expect them to grow. Silence, prayer, and waiting, that's the work of preparing the soil of someone's heart so that when you finally speak, your words can actually take root and bear fruit.
And for anyone who's in a season of quiet right now, who feels totally unheard, this quote from the book of Job offers so much reassurance. That feeling of being met with silence isn't a sign you're being ignored. Instead, the source frames it as a call to wait and to trust that a process is unfolding even when you can't see it.
Which brings us to the core takeaway, the central message here. It is a complete reframing of silence. It is not punishment, it is preparation. It's not a void, but an active, necessary stage for future growth and for powerful, purposeful action.
So we'll end by turning this lesson inward. The final, provocative question the sources leave us with is this. If silence isn't empty, if it's really a workshop, a classroom, a place of preparation, what might be getting built in your own seasons of quiet? That's a thought worth pondering. Thanks for joining us.